The big news of the day is this. God has answered my prayers. Tom DeLonge is back in Blink every night for the past 10 years or however long it's been since he was out of Blink. I've gotten down on my knees at the foot of my bed. I've clasped my hands together and I said, "Dear Lord, you can do anything. You can continue like all that famine and war and whatnot in other parts of the world. I'm okay with all that. All I ask from you, dear Lord, is please, please bring Tom back to Blink. I've been praying and fasting for many years for this, and today my prayers have been answered. BLINK-182 finally reunite with Tom DeLonge for a new album and tour, and it's glorious. Let's talk about some of the details, but first, here is their announcement. They said, "We're coming." Let's see what their announcement is.
Being totally honest, I cannot stop thinking about them coming.
I've tried hundreds of different ways to make them come.
Every night, I pray for them to come.
You and me both. See? He's been praying for them to come just like me. I said, "Dear Lord, please make Tom come. Please, I just want Tom to come." That's all I've been asking for. I just want Tom to come.
My husband and I would love to watch them come.
If they come, I'm getting hammered.
We would do anything
You and me
to make
both.
them come.
That's right, honey.
Anything.
If they come, I'm gonna explode.
Could you imagine all three of them coming?
That'd be sick.
They're gonna come.
I can, and I have.
Stretch.
Wait until I tell my grandkids they're coming.
Oh, they're gonna come!
Guys, they're gonna come!
They're gonna come!
They're gonna come!
They're finally coming!
Our prayers have been answered. And so there's also a teaser of their new song, which I'll tell you the title of that new song in a second. I don't know if it's a joke or not. I think it is, but this is a teaser of the new song. I like the title of the song very much. The new song is called Edging. Again, I don't know if this is a joke or not. You know, they're like, what, 50 or so now? For those who don't know, edging refers to a practice in which the two participants, I mean, it could just be one person, but the two participants manually stimulate each other and bring themselves very close, but they don't finish. They just get to the edge of coming, but they never actually come. They just get to the edge. It's probably a joke. I feel like they know what edging is, but I really hope that now they're so old and out of touch that they accidentally titled the song Edging without knowing what it means. That's what I'm hoping for, but probably not. They probably know. I gotta say, let's listen to the song again. Song itself, I gotta be honest, sounds kind of mid, but let's check it out. I mean, it's not bad, right? But it's kind of, you know, just, I don't know, seems kind of mid. That's right. This is the band that has the song called I Wanna Fuck a Dog in the Ass. So they probably know what it is, but I'm hoping that they don't. I'm hoping that like one of their kids talked him into calling the song Edging and be like, "Dude, I got my dad to call the song Edging. He had no idea what it meant." I feel like that would be kind of the best case scenario. Either way, that is the new song, which is coming out on Friday, apparently, or Thursday. I don't know, whatever, on the 14th. Coming soon. And what happened? You know, because it's been so long that they have been without Tom, and you know, he quit once, then he came back, and then he quit again. So what could have possibly caused Tom to come back after chasing UFOs for the past several years? And I guess he actually got the government to release some sort of like top secret like UFO stuff. That's what people say. I don't know the details. I saw him on Joe Rogan, and it was a little rough, to be honest. He seemed crazy, but apparently he actually did get them to release some documents, so maybe he's not crazy. I don't know. But either way, he is back. And apparently, what happened is this. The fans have long speculated that the original trio might be reuniting. In September of 2021, DeLonge revealed in an interview with Zane Lowe on Apple Music One that he had repaired his friendship with Hoppus, also giving the public an update on his bandmate's cancer battle. So the original reason that he left the band is that, you know, him and Mark always sort of butted heads. It seems like Travis sort of was cool with both of them, but it was him and Mark that really butted heads. I feel like I'm always talking about some kind of reunion. I mean, we always talk about playing together again, and I think that's definitely something we're all interested in. He later added that finding the time to do it where it lines up with everyone's priorities is all that's really needed, and Mark getting healthy again, getting him strong again. But yeah, I'm down. I think those guys are down. I think just finding the time to do it and when is really all we've got to figure out. So for the second time now, a member of Blink nearly dying is what brought the band together. So the first time that Tom left and the band was sort of on hiatus and they broke up, Travis got in that terrible plane crash where he almost died, got like super burned and all that stuff. And that's sort of what brought them together to go see him in the hospital. And they started talking and they said, hey, maybe we should bury the hatchet and come back. It sounds like that's what happened this time with Mark. So first of all, most importantly, happy to hear that Mark apparently is cancer-free and seems to be doing well enough to get out on the road and all that stuff. So that's the most important thing. Mark seems like an awesome guy, and I'm just really, I mean, how much of a bummer is it that he got cancer? Of all people, that's like the last person in the world that, you know, you want to see. I mean, you don't want anyone to get cancer, but especially not Mark, And so God told me, he's like, oh, well, you prayed for Blink to get back together. You didn't say anything about Mark getting cancer, so I granted your wish. I gave Mark cancer to bring Blink back together. Are you happy now? And I was like, I mean, yeah, you know, yeah, I am happy. If it takes Mark getting cancer to bring the band back together, well, so be it. Got to break some eggs to make an omelet, right? Now, the question is, you know, what happens to Matt Skiba? And to answer that question quickly, let's just take a quick trip through the history of Blink very quickly. It's a few different eras of the band, and I feel like every era of the band has their fans. The first era being the Scott era. I'm sure everybody knows this, but their first drummer, Scott Rayner, who played up until 97, I think, is when Travis joined. There are some people who think that the Scott stuff is the best. These people are called wrong, I agree. He's a horrible drummer, a passable punk drummer at best. This is a great song, but his drumming is terrible.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
I mean, he sounds like a high school punk drummer. I agree. Blink would have never been big like they are without Travis. I agree with that. I mean, I think that this album is really fun and I like it a lot. But number one, Scott is not a particularly great drummer and Travis is. And number two, Scott has like no star power. Travis, you know, especially back then, he was sort of the quiet, shy one out of the band, but he really became as much of a star as Mark and Tom are, and now you could argue that he is the most famous one of the group. So in my opinion, the Scott stuff, it's good, but it's definitely not great. Second era of the band is the Travis era. Personally, my favorite Blink album is Enema of the State, but I know there's a lot of people out there that like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket better, which is valid. It's a great album. I mean, Travis is just head and shoulders better as a drummer. It's not even close. As far as the best punk drummers of all time, I think really it's down to, in my opinion, down to two people, which would be either Travis Barker or Brooks Wackerman. Brooks is technically a better drummer than Travis, for sure. I mean, Brooks can play absolutely anything. Travis is a great drummer too, but Brooks, which, you know, he played in Infectious Grooves and Bad Religion, and now he's in Avenged Sevenfold. In my opinion, Brooks would take the title of the best punk drummer of all time, but I think you could make an argument for Travis too. Travis is fantastic as well, and certainly, you know, brings like a level of star power to Blink that just really no other drummer could. He's the perfect drummer for Blink. You know, he's cool, he's a great drummer. In my opinion, he's the one that really helped the band like fulfill all their potential. They were certainly a good band before, but with Travis is when they really became great. The third era of the band is the Matt Skiba era. I'm guessing that everyone knows, but just in case you don't, after Tom finally left for the second time, they decided, well, I guess Tom's not coming back. We're going to replace him. And they replaced him with Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio in, what, 2016? Something like that. And this is the Matt Skiba era. Yes, Brooks Wackerman has also played in Blink a little bit. Every single song during the Skiba era had this opening riff. It's kind of true. And here's Skiba. It's not bad, right? I mean, I was never like a big Alkaline Trio fan. I don't know. I feel like Matt Skiba, number one, he just doesn't sound like Tom. And even though Tom's like technically not a great singer, he has just, I don't know, he just has something that sounds right, you know, for Blink. And, you know, like just the fact of the matter is that as good as Matt Skiba might be, he's not Tom. So there's that. The other thing is that he has this sort of like brooding, dark kind of character that to me just doesn't really fit the band. Like some people in the chat said this is more like Plus 44, which I agree with. And Plus 44 is cool, but it's not Blink, you know? And there's this sort of like dark melancholy kind of tone to this era that it's not bad. It's just not what I want from them. There's the deluxe edition of California, kind of gets a little bit more upbeat, but it feels like Blink covering themselves almost, if that makes sense, rather than just Blink. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. But, you know, the Skiba era, I really wanted to like it, just couldn't quite get into it. And the question there is kind of like, well, how much of the magic that was lost is because, you know, they were guys in their 40s and you can't expect a band to like be on top forever, right? How much of that is just because the band sort of ran its course, and how much of that was specifically because of Tom? I sort of was on the fence about that, as far as like how much of the magic was because of Tom and how much of it was just because of a time and a place. Until I heard this most recent Angels and Airwaves song, which is from last year, 2021. And I wouldn't say this is like the best thing I've ever heard, but it's pretty fucking good. I wasn't expecting this to be good because it's like, you know, 45-year-old Tom or whatever. I'm like, you know what? This is pretty good. Like this chorus. This is pretty good. Like, I wouldn't say this is the best thing of all time, but it's definitely better than any of the stuff Blink had been doing without Tom. And so that's where it really became clear to me that, like, all right, Tom is the magic ingredient. Like, much respect to Mark and Travis. I think they're both awesome at what they do, and I have the utmost respect to them. But that's when it became clear to me that it wasn't just that they were getting old. That certainly plays a part, I'm sure. But Tom is really, I'm not going to like say that he is Blink, because I don't think that's true. I think it's the combination of all three of them. But that's when it became clear to me that like what Blink needs is Tom. It's not Blink without Tom. It just isn't, you know? So that is why I was so excited to see him back. Thank you, God, for answering my prayers. Allahu Akbar. You have answered my prayers. Tom is back. So not only do they have the new song coming out soon, they have a world tour, which is pretty cool. Starting in March of 2023, starting in South America and then coming up into the US and then going over into Europe and Australia. So this is like a full year, 2023 and 2024, a true world tour. And they are taking out Turnstile, Rise Against, The Story So Far, and Wallows. I don't know who Wallows is, and I don't know which bands are playing what dates because it just says support varies per city, so I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but that's pretty cool. I'm happy to see that they took out some younger bands. I mean, Turnstile and The Story So Far are both over 10 years old. Still, at least they're like young-ish bands. At least it's not a bunch of other, you know, 50-year-olds. So I think that's super cool. Very, very cool opportunity for Turnstile and The Story So Far. That's amazing. You know, I remember when Turnstile came out and they were just like, you know, another hardcore band back in 2011 or whatever it was. Who would have ever guessed that 10 years later they'd be doing a world tour, like doing direct support for Blink, playing fucking stadiums? Crazy. Wallows is Latin America. Turnstiles is America. The Story So Far is Europe. Rise Against is Australia. Okay, there we go. So that's pretty cool. Excited to see that. The second question that I sort of had, I think that everyone has, is, you know, where's this going to go? What happens next? I mean, this is like the second time they've reunited with Tom. Is this going to last, or is it just going to fall apart? You know, who knows? We'll find out. Just, you know, time's going to tell. Hopefully it lasts. I mean, whether you like the new song or not, it's cool to see him back, so I hope it lasts. Also, they are playing next year's When We Were Young festival, which was just announced, I think today, right? So Green Day and Blink are going to be headlining this with 30 Seconds to Mars, The Offspring, Good Charlotte, 5 Seconds of Summer, All Time Low, Something Corporate, Thrice, Pierce Veil, blah, blah, blah. Quite a few other old bands. I feel like this is straight out of like 1999, which, you know, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you guys know I'm not big on kind of these reunion nostalgic kind of things, not because these bands aren't great, they are. I'm not huge on these kind of nostalgia lineups just because I feel like this was cool in 1999, but do I want to see a bunch of guys in their 40s like trotting out the hits from back when we were 21? I personally don't. That's just me. I have no doubt that this will sell out in, you know, 1.5 seconds. So that's cool. If people go and have fun, then, you know, good for them. But that's When We Were Young 2023, 1 year from now in Las Vegas. This year's, I think, is next week, right? This is the boomer rock of the future. That is the truth. This is the boomer rock of the future. The other question is, you know, where does this leave Matt Skiba? I would assume he's not in the band anymore unless they want to have 2 guitars, which would be kind of weird because, like, they don't have 2 guitars in their songs, so what would he even play? It'd be kind of weird to, like, rewrite their songs for 2 guitars. So, I mean, I would assume that Matt Skiba knows the deal, which is that if Tom DeLonge ever wants to come back, then he's out, right? I mean, I'm sure he knows the deal. He had fun while it lasted. You know, I can't imagine that, you know, he's going to be surprised by that. Yeah, maybe there'll be new Alkaline Trio stuff coming back. Who knows? But either way, I am excited to see Blink back. I am excited to see the real Blink, which is Tom, Mark, and Travis. The only real Blink. Scott stands, get the fuck out of here. Matt Skiba stands, get the fuck out of here. The real Blink is back in the building, and I'm here for it.